Welcome to the Adult Sleep Stories podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here tonight. Before we begin, we encourage you to share where in the world you're listening from. It's always wonderful to know how our stories connect people across different places. As we settle in together for this special journey, I invite you to take a moment to find a comfortable position. Allow yourself to sink into the support beneath you, releasing any tension you may be carrying. As you listen to tonight's story, imagine each word gently washing over you, soothing your mind and easing away the stress of the day. With every breath, feel your worries melt away, replaced by a sense of calm and tranquility. Let your thoughts drift as we embark on this peaceful journey together, allowing your mind to unwind and your spirit to rest. Tonight's story is titled Amelia's Walk Through Paris. This is a journey of quiet wandering through cobblestone streets, soft rain, and glowing twilight. In this tale, we'll follow Amelia as she spends 3 gentle weeks drifting through the heart of Paris, waking to café aromas, strolling along the Seine, and watching the world unfold in the slow rhythm of her days. You'll hear of hidden gardens, flickering lights, and a small mystery tucked inside an old book, a handwritten note that invites her to wonder but never to chase. This is a story without rush, without destination, only calm in each tender moment. So settle in, breathe deeply, and let the dreamlike beauty of Paris surround you. Close your eyes and allow yourself to rest in the soft poetry of stillness. Chapter 1. Arrival in the City of Light. Amelia Harper stepped off the train at Gare de Lyon, her heart thudding in her chest as she took her first steps onto Parisian soil. The air was thick with the promise of spring, a gentle breeze laced with the intoxicating aromas of freshly baked baguettes and blooming jasmine. The station hummed with life, travelers weaving through the crowd like threads in a tapestry, each carrying stories of their own. As she navigated past families, couples, and solo adventurers, her senses tingled with the unfamiliar sights and sounds, drowning out the quiet ache of longing that had accompanied her throughout her journey. "This is it, the beginning," she whispered to herself, her breath hitching with exhilaration. She paused, raising her phone to capture a photo of the grand iron arches of the station, their intricate design shimmering in the morning light. The moment felt monumental, a promise of inspiration echoing in her heart. With a small map crinkled in her hand, Amelia stepped outside, her gaze sweeping over the bustling streets of the 6th arrondissement. The ivy-covered buildings stood sentinel, their facades painted in warm hues of ochre and rose, the charming balconies adorned with pots of vibrant geraniums. She could hear the distant sound of laughter, an artist sketching by the fountain, a couple sharing a secret joke in a nearby café. Each sound felt like a note in the symphony of Paris, inviting her to join in. Amelia took a deep breath, letting the air fill her lungs. She felt more alive than she had in years. "I'm finally here," she murmured, a smile breaking across her face. The city thrummed around her, and she reveled in it, feeling as if the very cobblestones beneath her feet were whispering tales of artists and dreamers who had walked this path before her. "Excusez-moi, mademoiselle," a voice broke through her reverie. A local man, perhaps in his 60s, with silver hair and kind eyes, gestured to her with a warm smile. "Are you lost?" "No, just a little overwhelmed," Amelia admitted, her cheeks flushing slightly. "I'm looking for Rue de Bussy." "Ah, you are close. Just follow the street to the right, and you will find it in no time," he said, his accent thick yet melodic. And you must try the pastries from l'Éclair de Génie. They are the best in the arrondissement. You'll love it here, chérie. Merci beaucoup, she replied, her French still shaky but earnest. The man's smile deepened, and he nodded before continuing on his way, leaving her with a sense of warmth that melted the last of her apprehension. With renewed vigor, Amelia followed his directions, her footsteps quickening as she turned down a narrow street lined with quaint cafes and boutiques. The atmosphere was electric. The chatter of patrons mingled with the clinking of glasses, laughter spilling out onto the cobblestones like a vibrant river. A painter captured the scene on canvas, strokes of color dancing in the sunlight, while a musician strummed an enchanting tune on a nearby corner. She wished she could bottle this moment, the essence of Paris, and carry it with her wherever she went. As she walked, she paused to admire a shop window, displaying delicate jewelry, the sunlight catching on the pieces like stars twinkling in the night sky. I could get lost in here, she muttered, pressing her nose against the glass. But the thought of her apartment pulled her back to reality, and she quickened her pace, eager to settle in before the day fully unfolded. After a few more turns, she finally spotted her new home, a charming building with faded blue shutters and a wrought iron balcony. The cafe below was bustling, the scent of coffee wafting up to greet her as she climbed the narrow staircase to her apartment on the second floor. As she unlocked the door and stepped inside, a wave of warmth washed over her. The apartment was small but inviting, filled with character. The wooden beams overhead had seen centuries, and the large windows overlooked the lively street below. She could hear the low murmur of conversation and the clatter of cups from the café, a soothing soundtrack that made her feel instantly at home. Amelia opened the window wide, letting in the sounds and smells of her new life. She smiled, her heart swelling with a sense of belonging. This is perfect, she thought, taking a moment to breathe it all in. The cafe owner, a middle-aged woman with a generous smile and flour-dusted hands, peeked up from behind the counter. Ah, vous êtes la nouvelle locataire. Welcome. If you need anything, just let me know. My name is Colette, she said, her voice warm and welcoming. Thank you, Colette. I'm Amelia, she replied, her smile widening. I'm looking forward to exploring the neighborhood. Good. You will find many treasures here, Colette said, nodding knowingly. And if you are ever in need of a good croissant or café au lait, you know where to find me. Amelia chuckled, her excitement bubbling to the surface. I will definitely take you up on that. As Colette returned to her work, Amelia moved deeper into her apartment, setting down her bags and flopping onto the small but comfortable couch. She pulled out her journal, the pages still crisp and waiting to be filled. With a gentle stroke of her pen, she wrote, Paris, my new adventure has begun. The air is alive with stories, and I am ready to listen. After unpacking a few essentials, Amelia decided to take her first evening stroll through the streets of Saint-Germain-des-Prés. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden hue over the city, and the streets were alive with laughter and music. She felt as though she were walking in a painting, each turn revealing a new scene that beckoned her closer. As she wandered aimlessly, her gaze fell upon a couple seated at a small table outside a cafe, sharing a plate of what looked like ratatouille. Their laughter rang out like a bell, filled with joy and intimacy. Amelia couldn't help but smile. She jotted in her journal, "The city dances with life," capturing the essence of the moment as she absorbed the atmosphere around her. She continued her stroll, pausing to watch a street performer skillfully juggle colorful scarves, the delighted squeals of children filling the air. Nearby, an artist was sketching the scene, the lines of his pencil a testament to his own interpretation of the city's vibrancy. Amelia felt the pull of inspiration, her heart racing with the possibilities that lay ahead. As dusk settled over the city, the streetlights flared to life, casting a soft glow on the cobblestones. The world felt magical, and Amelia found herself drawn to the Seine, its waters shimmering like liquid silver. She leaned against the railing, watching the boats glide by, their reflections dancing in the current. In that moment, with the city alive around her and the stars beginning to twinkle overhead, Amelia knew she was exactly where she was meant to be. The longing that had once filled her heart started to dissipate, replaced by a burgeoning sense of belonging. She was ready to explore the depths of Paris's heart, and she felt certain that this city had secrets waiting just for her. As she turned to head back to her apartment, her steps light and her spirit soaring, she thought of all the stories yet to be told and the connections yet to be made. The adventure had just begun, and with each new day she would carve out her own piece of Paris, letting the city's rhythm guide her pen and her heart. The streets whispered their promises to her as she walked, and Amelia couldn't wait to dive deeper into the life that awaited her. Chapter 2. Wandering through Saint-Germain-des-Prés. Amelia stepped out of her apartment, her heart fluttering with the anticipation of a new day in Paris. The morning sun poured gently over the cobblestone streets, casting warm golden hues against the rustic facades of the buildings. It was early spring, and a soft breeze danced through the air, carrying with it the tantalizing aroma of freshly baked croissants mingled with the earthy scent of dew-kissed flowers. The café below her window was already alive with the hum of conversation, the clinking of cups, and the rich, comforting sound of espresso machines at work. As she walked towards Saint-Germain-des-Prés, the sun warmed her skin, contrasting with the coolness still lingering from the night. The street was a canvas of life, vibrant and ever-changing. Amelia inhaled deeply, allowing the scents and sounds to wash over her like a gentle wave. Each step felt like a brushstroke on the masterpiece that was her life in Paris, and with every moment, her connection to the city deepened. Turning a corner, she was greeted by a flower stall, its colors a riotous celebration of spring. Tulips stood proudly alongside lilacs and daffodils, each bloom a delicate whisper of nature's artistry. The florist, a cheerful woman with a weathered face and eyes that twinkled like stars, caught Amelia's gaze. "Bonjour, mademoiselle. Would you like to brighten your day with some flowers?" the florist called out, her voice warm and inviting. Amelia approached the stall, her spirits lifting at the sight of the vibrant blossoms. "They're beautiful. What do you recommend?" she asked, her eyes glimmering with curiosity. "Ah, the tulips are particularly lovely today," the florist said, carefully arranging the delicate blooms into a small bouquet. "They symbolize perfect love in our culture. And the lilacs, they are for the first feelings of love. Perfect for a writer like you, no?" She winked knowingly. Amelia chuckled, feeling a warmth spread within her. "Perhaps I should have a bouquet for each emotion I experience then," she mused, her fingers brushing over the petals as she selected a small bunch of tulips and lilacs. "Wise choice. A bouquet for your adventures," the florist smiled, wrapping the stems in brown paper. "In Paris, flowers are not just for beauty, they tell stories. Every bloom has a meaning, a memory." As she handed over a few coins, Amelia felt an inexplicable joy in this simple act. Her first purchase of the day, a small gesture that tied her to the city she was beginning to love. "Thank you. You've made my day brighter," she said, her heart light as she continued her walk. Saint-Germain-des-Prés unfolded like an artist's palette before her. She wandered into an art shop that caught her eye, the sign above its door swinging gently in the breeze. Inside, the air was thick with creativity, and the sunlight streamed through the large windows, illuminating canvases that captured the essence of the city. Paintings of bustling cafes, serene rivers, and the iconic silhouette of the Eiffel Tower adorned the walls, each piece a window into a different perspective of Paris. "Ah, welcome." The owner, a short man with a beret perched jauntily on his head, approached her with an enthusiasm that was infectious. "I see you have an artist's heart." Amelia smiled, glancing around at the paintings. "I'm just a writer, but I find inspiration in art," she replied, her voice soft yet filled with wonder. "These pieces are incredible. Art and literature are siblings, you know. We capture the world through different lenses," he said, his eyes sparkling with passion. "What do you write about?" "Life in Paris, mostly," she admitted, feeling a flush rise to her cheeks. "I'm trying to find my voice." "Ah, a quest. Each brushstroke tells a story, just like each word on your page. Paris is a living canvas, and you are the artist of your narrative," he said, gesturing to a painting depicting a cafe scene bustling with laughter and life. "Do you see how the light dances on the people? That is the essence of our city, always in motion, always alive." Amelia felt her spirit soar at his words. "It's true. There's so much beauty in the details. I've been trying to capture the little moments, the laughter, the conversations, the warmth." "Then you are already a poet," he smiled, his appreciation evident. "Take your time here. Let the city inspire you. Art is a dialogue, and you must listen." As she left the shop, her heart swelled with a newfound determination. With the bouquet in hand and the shopkeeper's words echoing in her mind, she found a cozy cafe with a window seat that overlooked the street. The cafe was alive with a mix of locals and tourists, each immersed in their own worlds, yet all part of the same vibrant tapestry. Amelia settled into her seat, the soft hum of chatter around her a comforting backdrop. She ordered a café crème, the rich aroma filling her senses as she pulled out her notebook. The moment the warm cup was placed before her, she felt inspired, her fingers itching to write. Sipping her coffee, she began to jot down her thoughts, her pen gliding across the page. She captured snippets of conversation around her, laughter spilling from a table of friends, a couple sharing tender whispers, the occasional shout of a waiter calling for orders. Each word became a thread, weaving a narrative that felt alive and throbbing with the pulse of the city. "C'est délicieux, n'est-ce pas?" A voice broke into her reverie, and she looked up to see an elderly man sitting at the neighboring table, his eyes twinkling with kindness. "Oui, très délicieux," Amelia replied with a smile, thankful for the shared moment. "This cafe has a lovely atmosphere." "It does. I've been coming here for years." "The pastries were even better back in my day," he chuckled, his voice warm and full of memories. "But I suppose that is the nature of time, always moving forward, yet never forgetting." Amelia leaned in, intrigued. "What do you remember most about this neighborhood?" "Ah, Saint-Germain-des-Prés holds many stories," he said, his gaze drifting out the window. "I grew up here, you know, in the days when artists roamed the streets freely, painting their dreams. I remember the smell of fresh paint mingling with the scent of blooming flowers. This place was a haven for poets and philosophers, Sartre, Beauvoir. They would sit right where you are and discuss the world. Really? That's incredible, she breathed, feeling as if she were stepping into a living history book. What was it like? Electric. Ideas buzzing in the air, like fireflies at dusk. We believed we could change the world with our words and our art, he said, his eyes sparkling with nostalgia. But it was also a time of deep reflection. We were learning about love, loss, and the meaning of existence. Paris was our canvas, and we painted it with our hearts. Amelia felt a swell of connection, as though the very essence of the city was wrapping around her like a warm embrace. I want to capture that feeling in my writing, she confessed. The intersection of art and life, the stories that breathe through the streets. Then you must write what you see, my dear, the man encouraged, leaning closer. Let the city speak to you, listen to its whispers, for they are the heartbeat of Paris. Every corner has a tale to tell. They spoke for a while longer, sharing stories of the past and the present, laughter bridging the gap of age and experience. The café, with its clinking cups and soft chatter, became a cocoon of warmth for Amelia, a safe place where she could explore her thoughts and dreams. As the sun began its descent, casting a golden hue over the café, she felt a sense of belonging wash over her. The bouquet of tulips and lilacs rested beside her notebook, a vibrant reminder of her journey thus far. I must go now, but thank you for sharing your stories, she said, rising from her seat. You've given me much to think about. Remember, mademoiselle, he called after her, a smile lighting up his face. In this city of stories, you are learning to write your own. Amelia stepped back onto the streets of Saint-Germain-des-Prés, the sun dipping lower in the sky, painting the world in softer shades. She paused to admire the bouquet in her hand, feeling gratitude swell within her. Each petal seemed to echo the vibrancy of the city, the laughter, the stories, and the art that filled her heart with inspiration. As she strolled the streets, she marveled at how Paris had begun to feel like more than just a backdrop for her adventures. It was a living, breathing entity, and she was becoming a part of its intricate narrative. With each moment, she was not just observing, but participating in the dance of life around her. In this city of stories, I am learning to write my own, Amelia whispered to herself, the words tinged with a newfound conviction. With each step, she embraced the beauty and complexity of her surroundings, excited for the adventures that awaited her in the Luxembourg Gardens, where she would continue to weave her tale into the grand tapestry of Paris. Chapter 3: A Day at Luxembourg Gardens. Amelia Harper stood at the wrought iron gates of the Luxembourg Gardens, her breath catching in her throat as she took in the vibrant tapestry of color before her. The grand entrance, flanked by stone lions, opened into an expansive realm of lush greenery, where flowers bloomed in a riot of reds, yellows, and purples. The sun filtered through the leaves of ancient trees, casting dappled patterns of light that danced across the gravel pathways. Laughter echoed around her, mingling with the cheerful chirping of birds flitting between branches. It was a symphony of life, and Amelia felt a profound sense of anticipation and calm wash over her. Clutching her leather-bound notebook in one hand and a small paper bag containing a pastry in the other, she stepped forward. The air was fragrant with the scent of blooming lilacs and freshly cut grass, a perfume that felt both foreign and familiar. As she walked, her feet crunched on the gravel, a sound that harmonized perfectly with the joyous chaos of children playing nearby. A group of young boys raced past her, their faces alight with glee as they chased after a colorful kite that flapped wildly in the spring breeze. "Look! I can make it dive!" one of them shouted, his voice high with excitement. Amelia watched as the kite swooped low, nearly brushing the tops of the tulips, eliciting squeals of delight from the onlookers. "Careful, Jean, you almost took out the flowers." A girl's voice chimed in, laughter bubbling as she pulled her little brother back from the edge of the flower bed. Amelia smiled at the scene, feeling a tug of nostalgia for her own childhood, filled with innocent joys and simple pleasures. She paused to admire a statue of a stoic figure, his gaze fixed on the horizon as if waiting for a long-lost friend. The craftsmanship was exquisite, every detail telling a story of its own, and Amelia felt an urge to capture this moment in words. "Excuse me," a voice interrupted her thoughts. An elderly couple sat on a nearby bench, the woman smiling gently. "Isn't it beautiful here? Reminds me of our first date, many years ago." "Yes," the man replied, his eyes twinkling. "I brought her here to impress her with my knowledge of poetry." He chuckled softly, and Amelia couldn't help but feel the warmth of their shared memories. "Poetry?" Amelia echoed, her curiosity piqued. "Do you have a favorite?" "Oh, there are many," the woman said, a wistful smile crossing her lips. "But I always return to Baudelaire. His words capture the essence of beauty and melancholy, don't you think?" "Absolutely," Amelia replied, her heart swelling with the sentiment. Paris is a poem in itself. As she continued her stroll through the gardens, she felt a sense of belonging. The vibrant colors of the flowers seemed to pulse with life, mirroring her own burgeoning creative spirit. She paused by a fountain, where water cascaded down into a circular pool, creating ripples that danced in the sunlight. Nearby, a child gleefully sailed a toy boat, its small wooden hull gliding effortlessly across the water. Amelia watched, entranced, as the boy's laughter echoed above the sound of the fountain, a reminder of the joys of childhood. "Look, Mama," the boy shouted, pointing to his boat. "It's going to win the race." His mother smiled, her eyes sparkling with pride, and Amelia felt a pang of longing for those simple, carefree days. With a sigh, she wandered further into the gardens, seeking a quiet spot to collect her thoughts. She found a bench nestled beneath a flowering cherry tree, its branches heavy with soft pink blossoms that fluttered gently in the breeze. Sitting down, she unwrapped her pastry, the flaky crust crumbling slightly as she took her first bite. The sweet almond cream melted in her mouth, and she closed her eyes, savoring the moment. "Delicious, isn't it?" a voice broke into her reverie. She opened her eyes to find a young artist seated a few feet away, sketching intently in a small notebook. "The best pastry in all of Paris, I'd say." "It truly is," Amelia replied, wiping a crumb from her lips. "I've never tasted anything like it." The artist looked up, his charcoal-stained fingers pausing in their work. "You have to try the macarons at Pierre Hermé. They're divine. Although, I suppose you have to be careful. They can be quite addictive." "Are you local?" Amelia asked, intrigued by the passion in his voice. "Near enough," he said with a shrug. "I'm from Montmartre, the heart of bohemian art, or so they say." He grinned, revealing a gap-toothed smile. "What about you? You don't look like a tourist." "I'm just visiting," Amelia explained, her voice softening. "I'm a writer, or at least I'm trying to be. Just looking for inspiration, I suppose." "Inspiration is everywhere in Paris," he replied, his eyes lighting up. "You just have to know where to look, like the way the light hits the Seine at sunset, or how laughter dances in the air on a spring day like today." Amelia found herself nodding, the artist's enthusiasm contagious. It's true. I've never felt so alive in a city before. She paused, glancing at his sketch. Are you capturing the gardens? Trying to, he said, turning his notebook towards her. The drawing depicted the very bench where they sat, with intricate details of the flowers, the fountain, and even the boy sailing his boat. But it's hard to capture the spirit of a place, don't you think? It is, Amelia mused, her fingers tapping against the pages of her notebook. But words can do it too, in their own way. She glanced at him, feeling a spark of camaraderie. What's your name? Luke, he said, extending a paint-stained hand. And you? Amelia, she replied, shaking his hand, the connection feeling immediate and genuine. As they talked, the world around them faded into a soft blur. Amelia shared snippets of her life, her dreams of writing poetry that could evoke the beauty she saw before her. Luke listened intently, his eyes reflecting a deep understanding of her aspirations. Sometimes, he said thoughtfully, it's the little moments that inspire the greatest creations. Like that couple over there, sharing their quiet world. He gestured towards a pair of lovers seated on a nearby bench, their heads bent together as they whispered sweet nothings. Love, laughter, even solitude, everything we feel can be woven into art. Amelia felt a wave of warmth spread through her. I've always believed that, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. But it's easy to forget, isn't it? Life can get so busy. Maybe that's why we must seek out these moments, Luke replied, his gaze steady. Paris has a way of teaching us to slow down, to appreciate the beauty around us. With a contented sigh, Amelia reached for her poetry book, feeling the soft leather cover beneath her fingers. She opened it to a well-loved page and began to read aloud, her voice threading through the air like a gentle breeze. The sky was a canvas, painted with dreams, where echoes of laughter danced in the seams. As the words flowed from her lips, she felt the rhythm of the garden blend with her voice, creating a tapestry of sound that resonated deep within her. The laughter of children, the rustle of leaves, the distant chime of a clock tower, all intertwined with her poetry, wrapping her in a cocoon of belonging. A jogger passed by, nodding in greeting, while the couple on the bench turned to listen, their expressions softening. Even Luke paused his sketching, captivated by the cadence of her words. Amelia closed her eyes, surrendering to the moment. The sun warmed her skin, and she felt the gentle breeze caress her face, whispering secrets of the city into her ears. She was no longer just an observer. She was part of the living, breathing tapestry that was Paris. When she opened her eyes, she found Luke watching her with an appreciative smile. "You have a gift," he said softly. "You should share your words with the world." "Maybe one day," she replied, feeling a flicker of hope ignite within her. "For now, I'm still discovering my voice." As they continued to talk, Amelia felt the connections around her deepen. She watched the way the lovers shared their moments, the way friends embraced each other's laughter, and how even strangers could share a smile across the distance. It was a gentle reminder that amidst her solitude, she was never truly alone. In that vibrant garden, where the air was thick with possibilities, Amelia felt a shift within herself. She was beginning to realize that Paris was not just a destination, but a living entity, a muse that beckoned her to explore, create, and connect. The sun began its descent, casting golden hues across the sky, and Amelia felt a sense of peace settle over her. She scribbled furiously in her notebook, capturing the essence of the day, the laughter, the beauty, and the unexpected camaraderie with Luke. Each word was a step towards embracing her journey. As she finished writing, she looked around at the gardens, alive with movement and laughter. The flowers seemed to sway with the rhythm of the evening, and the air buzzed with a palpable energy. "I think I'm starting to understand," she said, looking at Luke. "Paris invites us to slow down and cherish life's fleeting beauty." "Exactly," he replied, a smile breaking across his face. "And you're becoming a part of it, just like all of us here." With a heart full of hope and a spirit ignited by creativity, Amelia stood, looking out at the gardens one last time. The world before her felt vast and inviting, filled with stories waiting to be told. As she walked towards the exit, the gentle breeze tugged playfully at her hair, and she took a deep breath, savoring the moment. Paris was no longer just a city she was visiting. It was becoming a part of her, a canvas on which she could paint her dreams. Turning back for one last glance, she felt the magic of the gardens wrap around her like a warm embrace, knowing that this was just the beginning of her adventure in the City of Light. Chapter 4. Rainy Reflections by the Seine. The heavens opened with a sudden, dramatic flourish, casting Paris into a world of shimmering gray and silver. A downpour danced across the cobblestones, transforming the vibrant streets into a canvas of glistening stones and muted colors. Amelia Harper stood at her apartment door, a small umbrella in hand, the cool rain invigorating her skin while enveloping her in a cocoon of calm. She inhaled deeply, the scent of wet earth and blooming lilacs mingling in the air, awakening a sense of purpose she had thought lost. As she stepped outside, the usual symphony of city sounds was muffled by the rain, a soothing blanket that swaddled the world around her. The Seine, with its gentle curves and glistening surface, beckoned. She felt an unexplainable pull toward the river, its allure heightened by the rhythmic patter of raindrops creating ripples that danced across the water's surface. "Just a quick stroll," she whispered to herself, her voice barely audible over the downpour. She opened her umbrella, its fabric a soft lavender that matched the delicate hues of the overcast sky, and began her journey along the riverbank. The Seine flowed like a liquid silver ribbon, winding its way through the heart of Paris. Each droplet that fell from the sky seemed to wash away the noise and chaos of the city, leaving only the beauty of the moment. As she walked, Amelia let her thoughts drift, pondering the stories hidden within the city's folds. She passed a couple huddled beneath a shared umbrella, laughing softly as they splashed through puddles, their joy infectious. A street musician, undeterred by the rain, played a melancholy tune on his accordion, the notes weaving through the air with a haunting beauty. Amelia's heart swelled at the sight of the bouquinistes, those green boxes lined along the riverbank, their weathered faces peeking out from beneath the protective awnings. Each box was a treasure chest, brimming with tales waiting to be discovered. She quickened her pace, seeking shelter under the sturdy stone arch of a bridge where the rain's rhythm transformed into a melodic heartbeat, a soothing backdrop to her thoughts. Under the bridge, the sound of raindrops hitting the water created a tranquil atmosphere, and the world beyond seemed to fade. She leaned against the cool stone, gazing out at the Seine, the surface rippling like a silver veil. It was here, amidst the gentle patter of rain, that she took out her notebook, its pages slightly crinkled from previous encounters with moisture. She opened it to a fresh page and began to write, the words flowing as freely as the river. The rain transforms the city, wrapping it in a soft embrace. Puddles reflect the world upside down, a mirror of dreams and reality. Paris, you are a canvas of stories, each drop a brushstroke on the heart of this city. Lost in her thoughts, Amelia became aware of a figure approaching, a bouquiniste, his gray hair curling beneath a well-worn beret. He moved with a gentleness that belied his age, and a twinkle in his eye hinted at the stories he carried within him. "Ah, mademoiselle," he called out, his voice warm and inviting. "You've found the best seat in Paris during a storm. Care for a book to accompany your reflections?" Amelia smiled, her heart fluttering at the thought. "I'd love to. What do you recommend?" With a flourish, he opened the lid of one of his boxes, revealing an array of dusty tomes and fragile volumes, their spines worn but dignified. "Every book here has its own story, just like you and I. What do you seek? Romance? Adventure? Or perhaps a touch of the mysterious?" "I'm not sure," she admitted, glancing at the titles. "I'm hoping to connect with the city's literary history, something that speaks to the essence of Paris." He nodded knowingly, his eyes sparkling. "Ah, Paris is a city of lovers and dreamers. Let me show you something special." He reached into the box and pulled out a small, leather-bound book, its cover embossed with gold leaf. "This is a collection of poems by Paul Éluard, one of Paris's own. He wrote of love and loss, capturing the soul of the city in words." Amelia took the book, her fingers grazing the cover. "It's beautiful. How much?" "Consider it a gift," the bouquiniste said, with a wink. "The rain has a way of bringing out the kindness in people, no?" Her heart warmed at the gesture, and she wanted to express her gratitude. "Thank you. I'll treasure it. Éluard's words resonate deeply with me." "Ah, he was a master of capturing the ephemeral moments, much like this rain," he replied, gesturing toward the downpour. "Every raindrop is a memory, a fleeting moment that passes yet leaves its mark. You, too, will find your story amidst these streets." Amelia felt a connection growing between them, an understanding that transcended words. "I hope to weave my own tales, inspired by this city and its history." "Then keep writing, mademoiselle. Paris thrives on stories, and the more you share, the more you become part of its fabric." He leaned closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "And remember, the rain brings clarity. It washes away the noise of life, allowing us to hear our own hearts." Amelia nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude. She tucked the book under her arm and retreated to her bench as the rain began to lighten, the droplets now a gentle mist. With the bouquiniste's words echoing in her mind, she opened the book and began to read, the verses soft and poignant against the backdrop of the rain. But as she read, her mind began to drift, memories of her childhood surfacing like bubbles in the water. She recalled sitting in her small bedroom, a world of imagination swirling around her. She had written stories then, tales of adventure, of far-off lands, of characters who felt so real they seemed to breathe alongside her. Those moments, filled with the rush of creativity, had shaped her. Yet, somewhere along the way, she had lost that spark. "Where did it go?" she whispered to herself, her voice barely rising above the sound of the rain. She thought of the years spent editing others' words, and the fear that had crept in, whispering that her own stories weren't worth telling. But here, in Paris, with the rain washing over her, she felt that familiar flicker of inspiration reignite. She was amidst the echoes of great writers, artists, and dreamers who had walked these same streets. The bouquinistes' words lingered in her mind, and for the first time in a long while, she felt a sense of belonging. As the rain began to taper off, she closed her eyes and breathed deeply, the fresh, rain-scented air filling her lungs. The world around her emerged anew, the colors brighter, the sounds clearer. She stepped out from under the bridge, droplets clinging to the leaves like diamonds, the sun beginning to peek through the dissipating clouds, painting the sky with streaks of gold and orange. Amelia stood at the edge of the Seine, her heart racing as she took in the reflections shimmering on the water's surface. Children laughed nearby, their joyful shouts ringing like music through the air. A couple strolled hand in hand, their laughter mingling with the gentle lapping of the water against the bank. It was as if the city had come alive, each moment a brushstroke on the canvas of her experience. With her notebook in hand, she paused to absorb the scene, feeling gratitude wash over her like the rain had moments before. She could see the stories unfolding around her, the connections forming, and the beauty of the mundane. She whispered a quiet affirmation of thanks to the city that had welcomed her with open arms, a place where she could rediscover herself amid the chaos. Amelia turned her gaze back to the river, her heart swelling with resolve. The rain had gifted her clarity, a renewed sense of purpose. She would embrace her journey, not just as a writer seeking inspiration, but as a woman reconnecting with her passions, her dreams, and her own story. With the last drops of rain lingering on her skin, she felt ready to embark on her next adventure. A visit to the dusty corners of a bookshop, where she sensed a mysterious note awaited her, promising to deepen her connection to this city and the stories woven into its very fabric. "Let's see what other tales Paris has to offer," Amelia murmured, stepping forward with determination, ready to dive into the heart of the city, where every corner held a whisper of history, waiting for her to listen. Chapter 5. The Mysterious Note. Amelia stepped into the cozy embrace of the bookshop on Rue de Rivoli, the scent of aged paper and ink wrapping around her like a familiar shawl. The dimly lit interior felt like a sanctuary from the bustling Paris streets, where sunlight filtered through dusty windows, casting a golden glow on the titles that lined the walls. Each spine seemed to whisper secrets, stories waiting to be plucked from the shelves. She inhaled deeply, savoring the mingling aromas of leather, parchment, and the faintest hint of coffee from a corner café. The soft chime of a bell signaled her arrival, drawing the attention of the elderly shopkeeper, Monsieur Dupont. His hair, a snowy white halo around his head, matched the thinning curls that escaped his well-worn beret. With a gentle smile, he emerged from behind a display of books, his spectacles perched precariously on the end of his nose. "Bonjour, mademoiselle. Welcome," he greeted, his voice warm and inviting. "Searching for something specific, or perhaps just browsing?" "Just browsing, I suppose," Amelia replied, her eyes gleaming with anticipation. "I'm hoping to find something that speaks to me." Monsieur Dupont nodded knowingly, his eyes twinkling with the wisdom of a man who had long understood the language of books. "Ah, the right book has a way of finding its reader. You must let the shelves guide you." He gestured toward the labyrinth of shelves, each filled with stories from different eras and corners of the world. Amelia wandered deeper into the shop, her fingers trailing along the spines, savoring the sensation of worn leather and embossed titles. She felt a rush of excitement as she unearthed gems: a weathered volume of poetry by Baudelaire, a dusty collection of tales from the French countryside, and a beautifully illustrated edition of Les Misérables. Each book was a vessel of memories, a reminder of the lives it had touched. As she turned a corner, she found herself in a secluded nook surrounded by stacks of books, teetering precariously. The sunlight streamed in here, illuminating motes of dust that danced like tiny fairies in the air. Her heart swelled with contentment, and she knew she had stumbled upon a hidden treasure. "Ah, this corner is my favorite," Monsieur Dupont said, appearing at her side. "A perfect place for quiet reflection. Many of my patrons have found their muse here." Amelia glanced at him, intrigued. "Do you have a favorite book?" He chuckled softly, his eyes sparkling. "Ah, how can one choose? Each book holds a piece of my soul. But if I must choose, I would say it's the one that brings you joy." "That's the magic of reading, is it not?" She nodded, feeling a kinship with his words. "I've always believed that books have a way of connecting us to others, even when they're not here anymore." "Precisely," Monsieur Dupont exclaimed, his passion igniting. "Books are like bridges, connecting us to the past, to the dreams of others. Here, we are never truly alone." He gestured to a worn armchair nestled in the corner, inviting her to sit. Amelia sank into the chair, feeling the cushions embrace her. As she settled in, she noticed a book peeking out from the bottom shelf, its cover a rich, faded blue. She reached for it, pulling it from its resting place. The title, Contes de la Vie, was embossed in golden letters, and the spine cracked softly as she opened it, the scent of time wafting up to greet her. Flipping through the pages, she found enchanting illustrations of Parisian streets, romantic landscapes, and whimsical tales of love and longing. Just as she was about to lose herself in the stories, a folded piece of paper slipped out and fluttered to the ground. Startled, Amelia leaned down to retrieve it. "What's this?" she murmured, unfolding the note with trembling fingers. The handwriting was elegant yet hurried, as if penned in a moment of urgency. "Meet me where the river bends. Always." A shiver of intrigue ran down her spine. She read it aloud, the words dancing off her tongue. "Meet me where the river bends. Always." The phrase hung in the air, filled with unspoken promises and echoes of forgotten dreams. Monsieur Dupont peered over her shoulder, his eyes narrowing in curiosity. "Ah, a note of mystery. It seems you have found something special, indeed." "Do you think it's part of the book?" Amelia asked, her heart racing at the thought of the lives that might have intertwined with hers through this singular moment. "Perhaps," he mused, stroking his beard thoughtfully. "Or perhaps it is a message from the past, beckoning you to uncover a story yet untold. Paris is a city rich with secrets, my dear. You may find that every corner has a tale to share." Amelia tucked the note back into the book, her mind racing with possibilities. "I think I might take this one," she said, holding the book close to her chest, as if it were a cherished friend. "An excellent choice," Monsieur Dupont replied, with a knowing smile. "And remember, the stories you find may lead you to places you never imagined." With her heart full and her mind buzzing, Amelia made her way to the register. As Monsieur Dupont wrapped the book in delicate paper, she couldn't help but feel that she was carrying a piece of history with her. "Merci," she said, her voice filled with gratitude. As she stepped out of the bookshop, the sunlight enveloped her like a warm embrace, and the sounds of Paris rushed back in, a symphony of chatter, laughter, and the distant clatter of café dishes. She walked towards a nearby café, a quaint establishment with wrought iron tables and colorful awnings. The waiters moved with practiced ease, their banter punctuated by the gentle clinking of cups and saucers. Taking a seat at a small table outside, she ordered a café crème, her heart still racing from the discovery of the note. As she waited, she opened the book, the pages crackling softly, and let her fingers trace the illustrations. The café buzzed with life around her, yet her thoughts drifted to the couple at a nearby table, their laughter rising like bubbles in sparkling wine. "They look happy," she murmured to herself, watching as the woman playfully nudged the man, her smile radiant. Their easy camaraderie ignited something deep within Amelia, longing, perhaps, for a connection that felt just out of reach. With a sigh, she opened her notebook, the pages blank and waiting for her thoughts. She began to write, her pen gliding across the paper as she captured her reflections on the note and the idea of lost connections. "Meet me where the river bends," she scribbled, pondering the weight of those words. What does it mean? Who wrote it? What stories lie behind it? As she wrote, she felt a profound sense of belonging wash over her. Paris was not merely a backdrop for her adventures. It was alive with stories, each corner holding a piece of someone's heart. The city pulsed with energy, inviting her to weave her own narrative into its tapestry. Moments later, her café cream arrived, the rich aroma pulling her from her reverie. She took a sip, the warmth spreading through her, and continued to observe the couple. They shared stories, laughter bridging the gaps between them. A pang of longing settled in her chest as she thought of her own journey, one filled with exploration, yet marked by a yearning for connection. "Excuse me," a voice interrupted her thoughts. Amelia looked up to see a man standing at her table, a casual confidence in his posture. He had tousled dark hair and bright blue eyes that sparkled with mischief. "I couldn't help but notice you looking quite pensive over here. Mind if I join you?" Sure," she replied, a mix of surprise and curiosity fluttering in her stomach. "I'm Amelia." "Pierre," he said, sliding into the seat across from her. "I'm an artist, and I can tell you're not just a tourist. There's a certain depth about you." "Thank you," she replied, feeling her cheeks warm. "I'm actually here to write and explore." "Ah, the soul of a writer. Paris must feel like a dream for you then," he said, leaning forward, his expression animated. "Every street corner is a canvas, every whisper of the wind a brushstroke of inspiration." "Yes, exactly," she exclaimed, her heart racing at the connection they shared. "And today I found this book." She held it up, the note nestled within its pages. And a mysterious note. "A note?" His eyes widened with interest. "What does it say?" "Meet me where the river bends, always," Amelia recited, feeling the weight of the words even as she spoke them. Pierre leaned back, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. "That sounds like a lover's promise. Perhaps someone is waiting by the Seine, hoping to reconnect. Or maybe it's a call to adventure, urging you to seek out the stories hidden in the city." Amelia's heart raced. "You think there's more to it than just a note?" "Paris is a city of stories, Amelia. Every note, every book, is a thread in a larger tapestry. Sometimes we just have to follow where they lead us." He paused, his smile infectious. "And who knows, you might find your own story entwined with theirs." Amelia felt a thrill of excitement course through her. "What do you suggest I do?" "Why not take a walk along the Seine?" Pierre suggested, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "You might just find the river bending in ways you never imagined." With a laugh, Amelia set her café cream aside, feeling a sense of adventure ignite within her. Okay, let's go. As they strolled toward the Seine, the sun began its descent, casting a warm golden hue over the water. The gentle lapping of the waves against the riverbanks seemed to agree with her heartbeat, a rhythm that pulled her closer to the stories waiting to be discovered. Standing by the river, Amelia glanced at Pierre, who was watching the water with a thoughtful expression. "What do you see?" she asked, wanting to know what stories danced in his mind. "The river tells tales of lovers, of secret meetings, and of dreams lost and found," he replied, his gaze unfaltering. "Can you feel it?" Amelia closed her eyes, letting the sound of the water wash over her. She imagined the lovers who might have written the note, their laughter mingling with the breeze, their promises carried away with the current. The sound of the river became a soothing backdrop as she reflected on her own search for meaning. "I've always felt like a solitary observer," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "But now I see that I'm part of something bigger. Each story I encounter is a thread that connects me to others." Pierre nodded, a knowing smile on his lips. "Exactly. And as you weave your own narrative, you'll find that each connection leads to another story waiting to unfold." Amelia opened her eyes, the golden reflections on the Seine shimmering like fragments of dreams. She tucked the note back between the pages of the book, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. She would uncover the hidden stories of Paris, allowing her own narrative to intertwine with the city's rich tapestry. As the first stars began to twinkle overhead, she felt a sense of belonging, a connection to the city that had welcomed her with open arms. With a heart full of hope and curiosity, Amelia stepped into the night, ready to follow where the stories would lead her next. Chapter 6. Ascending Montmartre. The sun hung high in a cerulean sky, its golden rays filtering through the vibrant green leaves of the chestnut trees that lined the winding streets of Montmartre. Beneath this dappled light, Amelia Harper stood at the base of the hill, her breath catching as she gazed at the majestic dome of the Sacré-Cœur Basilica. Its white facade gleamed against the backdrop of the Parisian skyline, a sentinel of creativity and history beckoning her upward. The air was alive with sound, the lively strumming of a guitar mingled with the lilting notes of a violin, both woven into the symphony of street musicians who filled the squares with their melodies. The aroma of fresh crepes wafted through the air, mingling with the scents of roasted chestnuts and the faint whiff of paint from nearby artists. Amelia felt a flutter of excitement in her chest, an exhilarating mix of anticipation and trepidation as she prepared to explore this storied neighborhood, a haven for artists and dreamers. Taking a deep breath, Amelia stepped forward, her shoes tapping against the cobblestones, each step echoing the rhythm of her heart. The sunlight danced on the uneven stones, illuminating the faces of tourists and locals alike, each drawn into the vibrant tapestry of Montmartre. She paused, captivated by a musician playing a hauntingly beautiful melody on the violin, the notes swirling around her like a gentle breeze. "Isn't it enchanting?" a voice chimed beside her. Amelia turned to see a young couple, their eyes sparkling with wonder. "It feels like the music is alive," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper as she lost herself in the melody. "Indeed, it makes you feel like you could float away," the woman laughed lightly, her auburn curls bouncing. The man nodded, his expression thoughtful. "Montmartre has a way of capturing your soul, doesn't it?" Amelia smiled, feeling the truth of his words resonate within her. She had come to Paris seeking inspiration, but here, amidst laughter, art, and life, she felt something more profound, a sense of belonging. As she continued her ascent, the streets narrowed, twisting like a painter's brushstroke. The vibrant colors of the buildings glowed in the sunlight, their facades splashed with murals and the scattered canvases of artists capturing the essence of the moment. A group of children played nearby, their laughter ringing out as they chased after a stray dog that darted between the legs of passers-by. Amelia stopped at a bustling square where several artists had set up their easels, each one a window into a different world. The air buzzed with the chatter of people admiring the works, and Amelia felt her heart race with the thrill of creativity that enveloped her. She approached a young painter who was meticulously capturing the Sacré-Cœur on his canvas. His brush danced with fiery strokes of white and blue, and he was so engrossed in his work that he didn't notice her at first. "Excuse me," she ventured, her voice soft yet full of curiosity. He looked up, startled, and then broke into a warm smile. "Ah, bonjour. What do you think?" "It's beautiful," Amelia replied, her eyes drinking in the colors. "You've captured its spirit." "Merci, I'm Julien," he said, wiping his paint-stained hands on his apron. "And you are?" "Amelia. I'm just exploring Montmartre, hoping to find some inspiration for my writing." "Writing?" Julien's eyes lit up. "You must try painting. There's magic in it, an expression of the soul." Amelia chuckled nervously, shaking her head. "I'm not sure I could do that. I've never painted anything beyond a simple sketch." "Every artist starts somewhere," he insisted, gesturing to his easel. "Why don't you give it a try?" Before she could respond, an older woman approached, her hair pulled back in a loose bun, a paintbrush tucked behind her ear. "Julien, stop pressuring the poor girl. We all have our paths." "But Margot, look at her. She has that spark," Julien countered, his enthusiasm infectious. Margot turned to Amelia, her eyes twinkling. "He's right, you know. Art is not just about skill, it's about feeling." "What do you feel when you look at this view?" Amelia paused, contemplating the question. "I feel alive, like the city is breathing with creativity, and I want to capture that in words." "Words are your paint," Margot replied, her voice soothing. "Use them to express what you see and feel. That is the essence of art." Amelia nodded slowly, the weight of their encouragement settling in her heart. "Maybe I'll write about it," she said, her voice growing stronger. "Good! Write about us," Julien exclaimed, grinning. "I'll be famous one day, you know." Margot laughed, shaking her head. "Ah, the dreams of youth. Just remember, Amelia, every brushstroke, every word you pen is a step on your journey. Follow your passion." As they spoke, Amelia's uncertainty began to dissolve. She wandered over to a shaded corner of the square, a picturesque nook with a small fountain bubbling gently. The sound of water mixed with the laughter of artists and the distant hum of the city. Sitting down on a weathered bench, she pulled out her notebook, the pages blank yet filled with potential. She took a moment to breathe, letting the energy of Montmartre wash over her. Words began to flow as she wrote about the vibrant colors surrounding her, the music that stirred her spirit, and the inspiration she felt bubbling within. A curious child approached, her wide eyes reflecting the innocence of creativity. "What are you writing?" the girl asked, tilting her head in wonder. "I'm writing about the beauty of this place," Amelia replied, smiling at the child's eagerness. "What do you think is beautiful?" The girl thought for a moment, then pointed to the fountain. "That and the flowers. They look like they're dancing." Amelia chuckled softly. "They do, don't they? Just like the music and the paintings." The child nodded vigorously, her face lighting up with enthusiasm. "I want to be an artist too." Then you should, Amelia encouraged, feeling her own heart swell with the child's unbridled passion. Create what you love. It's the best thing you can do. As the child ran off to rejoin her friends, Amelia returned to her writing, her thoughts flowing freely. She wrote about the essence of Montmartre, the artists, the musicians, the laughter that filled the air like a sweet perfume. Each word became a brushstroke, painting a picture of her experience. Hours slipped by unnoticed as Amelia immersed herself in creation until the sun began its descent, casting a warm golden hue over the city. She looked up, realizing she had lost track of time. The sky transformed into a palette of oranges and purples, painting a breathtaking backdrop for Paris. Rising from her bench, Amelia decided to climb higher, seeking the best view of the city as twilight descended. The cobblestone paths wound upward, and she felt invigorated with every step. The ambiance of Montmartre shifted with the setting sun, the streetlights flickering on like stars awakening from a long slumber. When she reached the highest point, she found a small crowd gathered at the overlook, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the sunset. The city sprawled beneath her, a tapestry of rooftops and winding streets, glimmering in the fading light. "Isn't it breathtaking?" a voice beside her exclaimed. Amelia turned to see a group of fellow travelers, their expressions awash with awe. "It's incredible," she breathed, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Paris feels alive, doesn't it?" one woman said, her eyes sparkling. "It's like the city has its own heartbeat." Amelia nodded, feeling the truth in their words. "I've never felt so connected to a place before." A young man in the group spoke up, his voice filled with passion. "What does Paris mean to you? What do you feel here?" "I feel inspired," Amelia said, her voice gaining confidence. "I came here hoping to find my voice, and I think I'm finally beginning to understand what that means." The group nodded, sharing their own stories of discovery, their voices weaving together in a tapestry of shared experience. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Amelia felt a sense of belonging blossom within her. The connections formed with strangers in this vibrant city were threads in the fabric of her journey, each one reinforcing her sense of self. As twilight deepened into night, she caught sight of the street musician from earlier, his violin singing a soft, melodic tune that floated through the air. The notes wrapped around her like a warm embrace, and she closed her eyes, savoring the moment. With the last rays of sunshine disappearing, Amelia returned to her bench, her notebook resting in her lap. She penned the final lines of her thoughts, a sense of peace enveloping her. The inspiration she sought had awakened within her, ignited by the vibrant spirit of Montmartre and its artists. The distant melody of the violin lingered in the air, a reminder of the magic that thrived in this city of lights. As she concluded her reflection, Amelia smiled, a new understanding blossoming in her heart. Paris was not just a backdrop for her story, it was a part of her, and she was ready to embrace her place within it. With the city's heartbeat echoing in her soul, she whispered a quiet promise to herself: to create, to explore, and to let her voice be heard. And with that, she looked out over the shimmering lights of Paris, ready for the next chapter of her journey, the world before her, a canvas waiting to be painted with her words. Chapter 7. A Tapestry of Connections. Amelia settled into her favorite café in the 6th arrondissement, the welcoming warmth of the morning sun spilling through the large windows, illuminating the delicate patterns of the lace curtains. The familiar clinking of porcelain cups, and the soft murmur of conversations created a soothing soundtrack, one that wrapped around her like a cozy shawl. She glanced at her half-finished croissant, its flaky exterior glistening with a hint of butter, then returned her focus to the open page of her notebook, where words danced alongside sketches of the cafe's charming interior. "Bonjour, mademoiselle!" A cheerful voice broke through her reverie, and she looked up to find Julien, the barista, standing before her. His tousled dark hair and bright blue apron made him a beacon of warmth amidst the cafe's rustic ambiance. "Bonjour, Julien," Amelia replied, her voice laced with the excitement of a budding friendship. "Could I trouble you for another coffee?" "Of course. I'll bring you a café au lait, fresh and steaming." He flashed a smile that seemed to brighten the room even more than the sun. As he turned, Amelia caught the faint whiff of roasted coffee beans mixed with the sweet scent of pastries, a reminder of the life pulsing just outside the cafe's walls. She watched him glide behind the counter, a rhythm of movements that spoke of practiced ease. Intrigued by his energy, Amelia felt an impulse to learn more about the city through the eyes of its inhabitants. She leaned forward, resting her chin on her hand as she waited. When Julien returned with her coffee, he set it down with a flourish. "You look inspired, mademoiselle. What are you writing about?" Amelia hesitated, caught in the web of her thoughts. "I'm trying to capture the essence of Paris, but it's daunting. There's so much history, so many stories." Julien nodded, his eyes gleaming with enthusiasm. "Ah, Paris is a tapestry of lives woven together. You must explore the hidden gems. Have you visited La Petite Ceinture?" "The old railway?" she asked, her interest piqued. "I've heard whispers about it. It's beautiful. The vines have claimed the tracks, and you can see the city from angles you've never imagined. I often take my sketchbook there." He leaned closer, lowering his voice as if sharing a secret. "Every corner holds a story, like the ghost of a train that once carried dreams." Amelia jotted down his suggestion, her heart swelling with inspiration. "What else do you recommend?" "Visit the bookshops along Rue de la Boucherie. They hold whispers of the past, stories waiting to be reborn. And don't forget the Seine at sunset. There's magic in the light dancing on the water." "Thank you, Julien," she said, her gratitude sincere. "Your passion for this city is contagious." He shrugged, a playful grin on his face. "It's easy to love a place that has given me so much. Just like your words, every story in Paris is a connection waiting to be discovered." As he returned to the counter, Amelia felt a spark igniting within her, a sense of belonging woven into the fabric of the city. She turned her gaze out the window, where the bustling street beyond was alive with the laughter of children and the chatter of friends meeting for brunch. Later, as she lingered over the last sips of her coffee, she noticed an elderly couple at a nearby table, their hands intertwined over a shared plate of pastries. Their laughter rang clear, a melodic counterpoint to the cafe's symphony. Intrigued, Amelia gathered her courage and approached them. "Excuse me, may I join you?" she asked, her heart racing slightly. "Of course, dear," Madame Lefebvre replied, her voice warm and inviting. "I'm Marguerite, and this is my husband, Henri." "Amelia," she said, settling into the chair across from them. "I couldn't help but overhear your laughter. It's infectious." Henri chuckled, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "Ah, we have much to celebrate. 50 years of marriage and still making each other laugh." "50 years?" Amelia gasped, her curiosity piqued. "What's your secret?" Marguerite leaned in, her expression earnest. "We never stopped exploring together, Paris has been our playground, each arrondissement a chapter in our love story. Tell me more, Amelia urged, her notebook ready. Henri cleared his throat, a nostalgic smile creeping across his face. We met in the 1950s, right over there by the Seine. I was playing my guitar, and she was passing by with her friends. I was too shy to sing, but I played a tune that caught her ear. Marguerite's eyes sparkled with the memory. I remember it well. It was a song about love, and I was swept away. We spent the rest of the day wandering the city, sharing dreams and laughter. Where did you go? Amelia asked, entranced. Oh, everywhere, Marguerite exclaimed. We walked through the Jardin de Luxembourg, shared ice cream at Bertillon, and visited the bookstalls along the river. Each moment created a memory, and every memory wove us closer. Henri nodded, and Paris changed around us. The cafes we visited, the shops, even the trees in the park. They all grew and evolved, just like us. Amelia listened, captivated by their stories. Their connection to the city was palpable, a living thread that intertwined their lives with its history. What do you love most about Paris now? She asked, feeling the warmth of their bond. The people, Marguerite replied without hesitation. Every person has a story. We've seen generations come and go, but the heart of Paris remains. It beats in the laughter of children, in the songs of musicians, and in the conversations of strangers. This city is a tapestry, Henri added, each thread a life, each knot a connection. We are all woven together. As Amelia absorbed their words, she realized how deeply they resonated with her own journey. Here was a city not just of landmarks, but of lives intertwined, each story adding depth to its narrative. She scribbled notes, her heart swelling with inspiration, grateful for the couple's generosity in sharing their love and memories. After bidding farewell to the Lefebvre, Amelia wandered into a nearby art gallery, the vibrant colors of the paintings beckoning her inside. The air was thick with creativity, and she felt a thrill of anticipation as she approached a striking piece, a cityscape alive with movement and emotion. Beautiful, isn't it? A voice piped up beside her. Amelia turned to see a woman with paint-smeared hands and a bright smile, a paintbrush tucked behind her ear. I'm Claire, the artist. I'm Amelia, she replied, her heart racing. Let's see it. This piece is incredible. What inspired you? Claire's eyes lit up. Paris. Each stroke tells a story of the people I've met, the moments I've witnessed. Like that couple you just talked to, they remind me of love's timelessness. Amelia nodded, feeling a kinship with the artist. I just spoke with them. Their stories are so rich. That's the beauty of Paris, Claire said, her voice animated. Every person adds a layer to the canvas of the city. Art is a reflection of our shared experiences. Each color, a different life. Each brushstroke, a connection. As they talked, Amelia felt a growing sense of inspiration. I'm a writer, she confessed. I'm trying to find my place in this city. Claire smiled knowingly. Every artist has to find their voice. Don't be afraid to explore the stories around you. They will guide you. Amelia glanced around the gallery, the vibrant artworks pulsating with life. It's like we're all part of the same story, she mused. Exactly, Claire exclaimed. We're all threads in this tapestry. The more we connect, the richer our narratives become. After bidding Claire farewell, Amelia stepped back into the bustling streets, the sun casting a golden hue on the cobblestones. She felt lighter, her heart dancing with newfound energy. The Seine shimmered in the distance, calling her forth, as if promising more stories to uncover. As she strolled along the riverbank, the sound of a guitar floated through the air, drawing her closer. A small crowd had gathered around a street musician, his fingers deftly plucking the strings to create a haunting melody that echoed through the evening. Intrigued, Amelia made her way to the front, where she found a young man with dark curls and a passionate expression. He played as if the world around him had faded, lost in the notes that poured forth from his guitar. When the song concluded, Amelia stepped forward, her heart racing. "That was beautiful! What inspires your music?" The musician looked up, surprised, yet pleased. "Thank you. I'm Marco. My songs are inspired by the stories of the people I meet. Each note carries a piece of their life. Like the couple I just met in the café?" she asked, her mind racing with connections. "Exactly," Marco replied, his eyes sparkling. "Their laughter and love are woven into the fabric of this city. I try to capture those moments in my music." Amelia felt a deep resonance with his words. It's incredible how we're all interconnected. I've been gathering stories of Paris, and it feels like every person adds to the city's heartbeat. "Beautifully said," Marco smiled. "Every story is a thread in our shared tapestry. Music, art, writing. We all seek to connect through our experiences." As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Amelia found herself lost in the moment. She sat on a nearby bench, her notebook open on her lap, filled with sketches and notes from her day. The melody of Marco's guitar floated softly through the air, wrapping around her like a warm embrace. Feeling grateful, she whispered to herself, "What stories will I uncover next?" The world of Paris was alive around her, rich with connections and narratives waiting to be explored. She realized that her journey was not just about discovering the city, but about discovering herself within its vibrant tapestry. Each encounter, each thread, was guiding her closer to her own voice, a beautiful harmony in the symphony of life. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Amelia felt a sense of belonging wash over her, a promise of tomorrow's adventures. She closed her notebook, her heart full, ready to embrace the stories yet to unfold in the enchanting city that had become her home. Chapter 8. The Allure of the Tuileries. Amelia stepped through the wrought iron gates of the Tuileries gardens, the sun streaming down like a cascade of golden threads, weaving its warmth into the fabric of her thoughts. The air was fragrant with the scent of blooming lilacs and freshly cut grass, a stark contrast to the heaviness that clung to her heart. The gardens unfolded before her in a riot of colors, a canvas of vibrant greens punctuated by splashes of purple, pink, and yellow. It felt as if the world had come alive, a living tapestry rich with stories waiting to be discovered. Families lounged on blankets spread across the manicured lawns, their laughter ringing out like the tinkling of wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Couples strolled hand in hand along the gravel paths, their fingers interlocked, sharing whispers and glances that spoke volumes more than words ever could. Artists dotted the landscape, their easels capturing the beauty of the gardens, each stroke of the brush a tribute to the magic of the moment. Amelia felt a flutter of longing in her chest, a desire to be part of this vibrant tableau, even as she settled onto a quiet bench overlooking a sparkling fountain. She opened her notebook, the pages crisp and inviting, and began to write. The ink flowed onto the paper as she observed the couples around her, a young pair, their faces alight with joy as they shared a secret that made them laugh. An older couple, their hands clasped tightly, eyes filled with a tenderness that spoke of years shared and memories made. Amelia captured their gestures, the way they leaned toward each other, as if gravity itself had conspired to pull them closer. "Isn't it lovely?" a voice broke through her reverie. Amelia looked up to find a man in a paint-splattered smock standing before her, his easel propped nearby. He had tousled brown hair and warm, inviting eyes that sparkled with creativity. The way the light dances on the water, it's like the fountain is sharing its secrets with the sun. "It really is," Amelia replied, her heart warming at the unexpected connection. "I've never seen anything quite like it." He grinned, revealing a set of charming dimples. "I'm Pierre, by the way. I come here often to capture the beauty of Paris. There's something about the gardens that makes you feel alive, don't you think?" "Amelia," she introduced herself, feeling the weight of her solitude lift just a little. "I'm just visiting, but I feel that way too. It's like the city is whispering its stories to me." "Ah, Paris has a way of doing that," he said, his gaze drifting to the fountain, where the sunlight danced like fairies over the water. "Every corner, every stone has a tale to tell." "What brings you here?" "I'm a writer," she admitted, her fingers brushing over the pages of her notebook. "I'm searching for inspiration, for something more. I found a note in an old book the other day, and it's been haunting me ever since." Pierre tilted his head, intrigued. "A note? What did it say?" "Meet me where the river bends. Always," she recited softly, feeling the weight of the words. "I can't help but wonder about the people who wrote it. Their love, their stories. Did they meet? Did they part? It makes me think about my own experiences of love and connection." His expression softened, and he leaned against the bench, his arms crossed. "Love is a fickle thing, isn't it? It can be as fleeting as a sunset, or as enduring as the mountains. I've had my share of both. I once painted a woman who captured my heart for a summer. We shared laughter, dreams, and then she left, like a morning mist." Amelia looked at him, captivated. "What happened?" He shrugged, a bittersweet smile gracing his lips. "Life, I suppose. We were both chasing different dreams, but the memories, they linger, don't they? Like the scent of roses in the air long after they've wilted." "Yes," she replied, feeling a connection to his words. "It's comforting and painful all at once. I've been thinking a lot about belonging lately." "The Tuileries is a perfect place for that," Pierre said, gesturing around them. "Look at the people here. Each one has a story, a history. The gardens themselves have witnessed love and loss, joy and sorrow. They remind us that we're all part of something larger." She glanced around, taking in the families, the lovers, the artists. The gardens, with their meticulous design, seemed to weave together the threads of countless lives, binding them into a shared narrative. "It's beautiful to think about," Amelia mused, "how every moment is fleeting, yet somehow timeless." "Exactly," Pierre replied, his eyes sparkling. "And just like these flowers, we bloom and wither, only to bloom again in different forms. Your time in Paris is a part of your story, Amelia. Embrace it." Amelia nodded, feeling a warmth spread through her. She looked down at her notebook, remembering the note that had captured her imagination. "What if I never find out where the river bends?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Then make your own river," he encouraged, his tone earnest. "Write your own story. The note may be a mystery, but your journey is yours to craft. You have the power to shape your experiences, just like an artist with a blank canvas." His words resonated within her, igniting a spark of determination. She glanced toward the fountain, the water cascading in glimmering arcs, and thought of the lovers who had once shared their dreams beneath its mist. What if I'm afraid? She admitted, her vulnerability laid bare. Fear is part of the journey, Pierre replied, his voice soothing. But it can also be a guide. Let it lead you to new experiences. Paris has a way of revealing what we hide from ourselves. As they spoke, the sun began its slow descent in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the gardens. The shadows grew long, and the laughter of children echoed in the distance, mingling with the soft rustle of leaves. Amelia felt a wave of calm wash over her, a sense of belonging that she had longed for. She looked at Pierre, his presence a comforting balm. Thank you, Pierre, for reminding me that my story is still being written. He smiled, and for a moment, the world around them faded. In the stillness, she closed her eyes, allowing the sounds of the garden to envelop her. The laughter, the whispering leaves, the distant strains of a violin playing a lilting melody, all of it melded into a symphony of life that resonated deeply within her. As the sun dipped lower, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Amelia opened her eyes and turned to Pierre. Do you think I'll find answers in this city? She asked, her heart racing with hope and uncertainty. Perhaps the answers are not what you expect, he replied, a knowing glint in his eye. But if you keep your heart open, you'll find connections in the most unexpected places. Amelia felt a rush of gratitude as she stood up from the bench, her notebook clutched against her chest. I should keep moving, shouldn't I? Explore more of what Paris has to offer. Yes, Pierre exclaimed, his enthusiasm infectious. The Seine flows just beyond the gardens. Follow it, and you'll discover more stories that intertwine with your own. Thank you for your encouragement, Pierre. I'll look for you here again, she said, taking a step back. Until then, Amelia, he replied, his smile brightening the fading light. May your journey be filled with love and inspiration. With a final wave, she turned and walked toward the path leading to the Seine, feeling lighter than she had in days. As she made her way through the gardens, she glanced back at the Tuileries, a sense of peace settling within her. The vibrant flowers, the laughter, the stories, they would remain etched in her memory, a reminder of her place in the ever-evolving narrative of Paris. With each step toward the river, she felt the weight of longing lift, replaced by the warmth of connection. The city welcomed her, its stories wrapping around her like a soft embrace. With renewed resolve, Amelia whispered a quiet merci to the gardens, to Pierre, and to the city that had become a part of her own unfolding tale. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a shimmering reflection on the Seine, Amelia felt ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. She was, after all, a writer in a city alive with stories, and her own was just beginning to take shape. Chapter 9. Echoes of History. Amelia Harper stood before the Musée d'Orsay, her heart thrumming with a mixture of reverence and anticipation. The former railway station loomed grandly against the Parisian sky, its Beaux-Arts architecture gleaming in the warm afternoon sun. The intricate clock tower, now a symbol of artistic time, cast a shadow that danced across the cobblestones, as if inviting her to step inside and embrace the voices of the past. The air was filled with the laughter of children chasing one another, their joyous shouts echoing off the museum's stone walls. Couples strolled hand in hand, sharing whispers that flitted like butterflies. Amelia took a deep breath, inhaling the mingled scents of fresh pastries from nearby cafes and the faint hint of paint and varnish that wafted from the museum itself. Here, in the heart of Paris, she felt the pulsing rhythm of creativity that had once captured the likes of Monet, Van Gogh, and Degas. With a gentle smile, she turned towards the entrance. "Let's see what stories await," she murmured to herself, her voice barely rising above the hum of excited visitors. Stepping inside, she was greeted by the vastness of the hall, its vaulted ceiling soaring above her like the sky itself. The light filtered through the arched windows, casting a golden hue over the polished wooden floor and illuminating the masterpieces that adorned the walls. Amelia wandered into the impressionist galleries, her eyes wide with wonder. Each canvas seemed to breathe with life, capturing moments that would otherwise fade into obscurity. She paused before Monet's Water Lilies, the brushstrokes swirling with color and emotion. The painting was a tranquil pond, its surface alive with reflections of foliage and sky. But to Amelia, it held something deeper, a longing for beauty, a desire to capture the fleeting. "Look at how he plays with light," she whispered, her fingers hovering just inches away from the frame. "It's like he's inviting us to step into his world." With a sigh, she pulled out her notebook, its pages filled with thoughts and observations, sketches and dreams. As she jotted down her reflections, she felt a stirring recognition of herself in Monet's work. Each stroke of color mirrored her own journey, an exploration of beauty in the chaos of life. "C'est magnifique, n'est-ce pas?" a voice interrupted her thoughts. A young woman stood beside her, her auburn curls bouncing as she gestured animatedly towards the painting. "Absolutely," Amelia replied, her heart warming at the shared enthusiasm. "It feels like a moment suspended in time." The woman smiled, her blue eyes sparkling. "I'm Clara. Are you an artist too?" "Just a writer," Amelia admitted, feeling a flicker of doubt. "But I find inspiration in art. It speaks in ways words sometimes can't." "Ah, but words can create their own forms of beauty," Clara replied, her voice soft, yet firm. "You just need to find your own brush." With a wink, she moved on, leaving Amelia pondering the connection between their crafts. The next gallery beckoned, and Amelia found herself before Van Gogh's Starry Night over the Rhone. The swirling night sky, painted with vibrant hues of blue and gold, mirrored the tumult within her. She stepped closer, studying the brushwork that seemed to pulse with energy, reflecting the artist's own struggles and triumphs. The placard beside the painting detailed Van Gogh's life, a tale of passion and pain, of battles fought in solitude. "Why is it," Amelia whispered, "that the most beautiful art emerges from such turmoil?" She scribbled her thoughts, feeling her own fears rise like the stars in Van Gogh's sky. Would her words ever resonate with that kind of truth? "You know, he painted this while battling his own demons." A voice from behind her broke her reverie. It was an older gentleman, his hands clasped behind his back, eyes twinkling with wisdom. "Art is often born from the depths of despair, yet it transcends those very struggles." Amelia turned to face him. "You think so? I fear I can't capture that kind of depth." But everyone has their own depths," he replied, leaning closer as if to share a secret. "Do not compare your journey to others. Write your truth, and it will resonate." Van Gogh's brilliance was forged in his pain, yes, but it was also a reflection of his unyielding desire to express beauty. "Find your beauty." His words wrapped around her like a comforting shawl, warming her insecurities. "Thank you," she said softly. "I'll remember that." As she wandered deeper into the museum, she stumbled upon a quieter section dedicated to the literary giants of Paris. A small exhibit showcased the letters, photographs, and manuscripts of writers like Hemingway and Proust, their words echoing through time like whispers from old friends. Amelia felt drawn to a letter penned by Proust, his elegant script dancing across the page. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes, she read aloud, the words resonating within her. She could almost hear the clinking of glasses in a café, the laughter of kindred spirits sharing their dreams. In that moment, she felt a kinship with those who had walked these streets before her, searching for meaning and expression. "I'd give anything to have a conversation with them," she murmured, jotting down her thoughts. "To understand their struggles, their triumphs." "Wouldn't we all?" came a voice from her right. A young man of about her age leaned against the wall, sketchbook in hand. "But perhaps we can create our own conversations, through our art, our words." "Are you an artist?" Amelia asked, intrigued. "An aspiring one," he replied with a grin. "I find inspiration everywhere, especially in places like this. It's a reminder that we're all part of a larger narrative." As they spoke, Amelia felt a spark of excitement. "I think I'm beginning to understand that," she said, glancing around the exhibit. "Every artist, every writer, is part of a continuum. We share the same struggles, the same hopes." "Exactly," he said, nodding enthusiastically. "And if we're brave enough to share our stories, we can inspire others." Emboldened by their conversation, Amelia moved on, her heart swelling with newfound courage. But just as she was about to leave the literary section, a temporary exhibit caught her eye. It was dedicated to love and loss throughout French history, showcasing couples who had met at iconic Parisian locations. Her breath caught in her throat as she read about a pair of lovers who had exchanged letters beneath the very clock tower outside. The words were drenched in longing, each syllable echoing the bittersweet symphony of romance. Her mind drifted back to the mysterious note she had found earlier, the one that had sparked her journey through Paris. "Isn't it fascinating?" The young man from earlier reappeared beside her, his eyes alight with curiosity. "How love has shaped the city, just as artists have." "Yes," Amelia replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's as if every story is intertwined with the others, creating a tapestry of experiences." The young man nodded, his gaze drifting towards the exhibit. "And it reminds us that we're never alone in our experiences. Love, like art, is universal." Amelia felt a rush of warmth at his words. For the first time, she saw her own story as part of something greater, a thread woven into the fabric of Paris. She clutched her notebook tightly, feeling the weight of her thoughts, but also the lightness of inspiration. As she prepared to leave the museum, Amelia paused at the entrance, the sunlight flooding over her. It cascaded down the steps like a golden river, illuminating her path. She glanced back at the Musée d'Orsay, feeling the echoes of history resonate within her. Each artist, each writer, had faced their own battles, yet they had created beauty that transcended time. With a final deep breath, Amelia stepped outside, her heart beating with renewed purpose. "I will write my truth," she vowed softly to the world around her. "I will find my beauty, my voice." As she walked away from the museum, she felt a vibrant connection to the city, to its artists and dreamers, and to her own journey. The Seine lay ahead, glimmering beneath the sun, and the mysterious note tugged at her mind like a siren's call. With every step, she embraced the stories that awaited her, the adventures that were yet to unfold. And with each echo of history, she felt herself becoming more than just a visitor. She was becoming a part of Paris, and Paris was becoming a part of her. The journey continued, and Amelia's heart raced with the possibilities that lay ahead. Chapter 10. The River Bends. Twilight draped Paris in a soft, golden veil as Amelia stood by the banks of the Seine, where the water glimmered like a mirror reflecting the last rays of the sun. The air was cool, laced with the scent of fresh pastries and roasted chestnuts from the nearby cafés, mingling with the distant sound of laughter and the clinking of glasses. Street lamps flickered to life along the river walk, casting warm pools of light that danced on the surface of the water. The Eiffel Tower, a sentinel of iron and dreams, glittered in the distance, its lights twinkling like stars fallen to earth. Amelia ran her fingers over the note tucked in her pocket, feeling the textured paper beneath her fingertips, a tangible reminder of the mystery that had brought her to this moment. She closed her eyes and let the symphony of the city envelop her, the gentle lapping of the river, the rustle of leaves in the evening breeze, and the distant strains of a violin played by a street performer just out of sight. Each sound wove together, creating a tapestry of life that resonated deep within her. Sitting on the edge of the riverbank, she traced the outline of the note again, her thoughts drifting back to the lovers captured in its fragile prose. What stories had unfolded along these very banks? What dreams had been whispered into the air, carried away by the current? The Seine had witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the laughter of lovers, and the quiet sorrows of those who walked its banks. Amelia felt an aching sense of connection to it all, a knot of longing and hope intertwining in her heart. As she contemplated the note, her mind flickered to the imagined meeting she had conjured earlier. She saw the couple, two souls intertwined by love, sharing secrets and laughter beneath the canopy of Parisian stars. In her mind's eye, they stood by the river, their hands clasped, the world fading away, leaving only the rhythm of their hearts and the murmur of the water. "What dreams do you hold?" she whispered into the twilight, her voice barely audible against the sounds of the city. "What fears have you faced?" In that moment, Amelia felt the weight of her own uncertainties pressing against her, the questions about her journey and her place in this vibrant tapestry. She thought of her own hopes, of becoming a writer, of finding belonging, of understanding the intricate dance of life. The lover's story echoed in her heart, and she felt a stirring within her, a call to confront her fears and desires. "Ah, la Seine, the river of lovers," a voice broke through her reverie, pulling her from her thoughts. An elderly man, paint-splattered and grinning, stood a few feet away, his easel set up beside him. He was a sprightly figure, his silver hair catching the last light of day, eyes twinkling with the wisdom of years. Many stories flow through its waters, don't you think? Amelia looked up, startled but curious. "Yes, it seems to carry the weight of many lives," she replied, smiling. "What do you see when you look at the river?" The artist chuckled, adjusting his beret. "I see hope and despair, joy and sorrow, all intertwined like the brushstrokes on my canvas. This river, she has her secrets, but she also brings forth beauty, just as we do." He gestured to his easel, where a vibrant painting of the Seine at sunset came to life, a swirl of colors capturing the moment's magic. "Your painting is beautiful," Amelia said, genuinely moved. "It captures the essence of this place." "Thank you, mademoiselle." He stepped closer, examining her with a discerning eye. "And what do you seek by the river?" A story? Or perhaps a muse? I'm not sure, she admitted, her voice softening. I came to Paris to find inspiration, to connect with something deeper within myself. But I feel lost sometimes. Ah, lost is just a word we use when we haven't yet found, he replied, his tone gentle. Every artist, every writer, faces moments of uncertainty. The river teaches us to flow, to adapt, and to embrace the changes around us. You must listen to what it tells you. Amelia considered his words, her heart swelling with a mix of gratitude and understanding. Do you believe that our stories intertwine with those of others? She asked, her curiosity piqued. Absolutely, we are all threads in a grand tapestry. Each life adds color, depth, and texture. I once painted the love story of a couple who met by the river. Their laughter echoed through my brushstrokes, and I felt their joy every time I put color to canvas. He paused, a shadow flickering across his face. But life is not always sweet. They lost each other to fate's cruel hand. Yet, I still paint their love, for it lives on in the stories we share. Amelia's chest tightened at the weight of his words. How do you cope with loss? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. How do you keep going? The artist's gaze softened, and he looked out over the river as if searching for answers in the flowing water. By embracing the fleeting nature of life. Each moment is precious, but it is also transient. We must cherish the connections we make, even if they are temporary. That is the beauty of it all. He turned back to her, a twinkle in his eye. And you, my dear, must not shy away from your journey. Write your heart. Let the ink flow like the river. Inspired by his words, Amelia pulled out her notebook, its pages filled with her thoughts and sketches. She began to write, the pen dancing across the paper as her heart poured out onto the page. The artist watched her, a knowing smile on his face, before returning to his easel, where he continued to capture the evening light. As the night deepened, the air grew cooler, and the stars began to emerge, twinkling like diamonds scattered across a velvet sky. Amelia wrote about her experiences, the note's message, and the significance of the connections she had formed in Paris. Her heart raced as she embraced the mystery of it all, the uncertainty, the beauty, the fleeting moments of joy and sorrow. With each word, she acknowledged the power of mystery in life, allowing herself to embrace the idea that not all stories need closure or explanation. Life was an intricate tapestry, and she was a thread woven within it, part of something far greater than herself. After the artist finished his painting, he approached Amelia once more. "What have you discovered in your writing?" he asked, his voice warm and inviting. "I've realized that my journey is still unfolding," she replied, her eyes sparkling with newfound clarity. "The connections I've made here, the stories I've encountered, they are all part of my own narrative, and it's okay that I don't have all the answers yet." "Ah, that is a beautiful revelation," the artist said, nodding approvingly. "The river flows, and so must you. Embrace the mystery, my friend. It is where the magic lies." Amelia smiled, feeling a sense of peace wash over her. The river, with its ever-changing current, mirrored her journey, unpredictable yet beautiful. She looked out over the water, her heart swelling with gratitude for the lessons learned and the connections forged. As the night deepened around her, the city lights twinkled like stars reflected in the water. Amelia whispered a heartfelt thank you to Paris for the stories it had shared, for the love and loss woven into its very fabric. She stood by the river, feeling the gentle breeze on her skin, and closed her eyes once more, allowing the sounds of the city to embrace her. Merci, Paris, she murmured, her heart alight with hope and acceptance. The river continued to flow, carrying with it the stories of lovers, dreamers, and seekers like herself. Amelia understood that her journey was not just about finding herself, but about becoming part of something larger, a continuum of lives and experiences that shaped the very essence of the city she had come to cherish. And as she opened her eyes, the shimmering reflections in the water seemed to beckon her, inviting her to continue her exploration, both of the city and of herself. The night was still young, and she felt ready to embrace whatever came next, knowing that the river would always be there, guiding her onward. With a smile, she turned back toward the vibrant heart of Paris, ready to write the next chapter of her story. Chapter 11. A Night of Revelations. The sun dipped low over the Seine, casting a warm golden hue across the water that shimmered like molten gold. Amelia Harper stood on the cobblestone bank, her breath catching in her throat as she gazed at the sky, a riot of oranges, purples, and indigo blue spilling forth like an artist's palette. Around her, the sounds of laughter and music drifted from a small stage set up beside the river, where a group of musicians had gathered to perform for a crowd of locals and tourists alike. The air was thick with the mingling scents of fresh baguettes and blooming lilacs, each waft a reminder of the beauty that surrounded her. As she drew closer to the performance area, Amelia could see a diverse audience, young couples swaying to the music, families sprawled out on blankets, and solitary figures lost in thought. She found an unoccupied patch of grass, the cool earth grounding her as she settled down. Closing her eyes, she allowed the melodies to wash over her, each note reverberating within her chest, stirring memories of the past weeks, the laughter shared over croissants at dawn, the quiet moments spent sketching at the Tuileries, and the warm conversations with strangers that felt as if she'd known them forever. C'est magnifique, n'est-ce pas? A soft voice broke through her reverie. Amelia opened her eyes to find an elderly woman beside her, her silver hair glinting in the fading sunlight. The woman's eyes sparkled with the wisdom of 1,000 stories, and she smiled brightly, revealing a warmth that made Amelia feel instantly at ease. "Yes, it really is," Amelia replied, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Paris has a way of capturing the soul, doesn't it?" The woman chuckled softly, her laughter rippling like the water beside them. "Ah, ma chérie, Paris is not just a city. It is a lover, a friend, and sometimes even a teacher. I am Colette," she said, extending her hand. "Amelia," she replied, shaking Colette's hand, feeling the gentle strength in the older woman's grip. "Tell me, Amelia, what brings you to our beautiful city?" Colette asked, settling beside her on the grass, her gaze drifting to the stage. "I came seeking inspiration, I suppose," Amelia said, her voice trailing off as she looked out at the performers. "I've been traveling for a while, and I thought Paris would be the perfect place to write." She paused, her heart heavy with the thought that her time here was coming to an end. "But I think I've found so much more than just inspiration." Colette nodded knowingly, her eyes gleaming with understanding. "Ah, yes. The city has a way of revealing truths we often hide from ourselves. I remember when I was young, running through these very streets, dancing without a care in the world. Art and music shaped my life. They taught me that beauty exists in moments, in the connections we forge." Amelia's heart ached at the thought of what she might leave behind. I've met so many wonderful people here, she said, her voice barely a whisper. And I've felt things I didn't know I could feel. Emotions are the essence of life, mon petit oiseau, Colette replied, her voice rich with affection. They guide us, teach us, and sometimes even break us. But it is in those fragile moments that we learn how to dance again. As the performance continued, the music swelled, drawing the crowd into a collective heartbeat of joy. The dancers twirled, their movements fluid and free, and Amelia felt the urge to join them stirring within her. Yet self-doubt crept in, whispering insecurities that kept her rooted to the grass. "Will you dance with me, Amelia?" Colette's voice broke through her thoughts, warm and inviting. Life is too short to watch from the sidelines. Amelia hesitated, her heart racing at the thought of stepping into the spotlight. I don't know if I can." "Of course you can. Just let the music take you," Colette urged, rising to her feet, her own frame trembling with excitement. "Come." With a deep breath, Amelia stood, her pulse quickening with a mix of fear and exhilaration. She stepped forward, the cool grass beneath her feet grounding her as she felt the rhythm pulse through the air. Colette took her hand, and together they joined the thrumming masses, moving to the music, allowing themselves to be swept away. As the first notes enveloped her, Amelia found herself lost in the dance. Her body moved as if it had a mind of its own, twirling, spinning, laughter bubbling forth like champagne. The world around her faded, becoming a blur of colors and sounds, and all that mattered was the present moment. She felt the joy of being alive, the liberation of letting go, and the overwhelming beauty of connection. "See," Colette shouted over the music, her face radiant with joy. "You are a dancer at heart." Amelia's laughter mingled with the melody, and for the first time in her life, she felt truly free. She forgot the worries that had plagued her, about returning home, about her future. All that existed was here, in this moment, in the heart of Paris. As the performance came to a close, the audience erupted in applause, cheers echoing off the riverbanks. Amelia found herself breathless, a wide smile stretching across her face. She turned to Colette, who was beaming with pride. "Thank you," Amelia said, her voice filled with emotion. "I needed this. I've been so caught up in my own head." Colette took Amelia's hands in hers, her expression shifting to one of earnestness. "Never forget this feeling, my dear. Life will pull you in different directions, but always remember to dance, to be present. Your heart has found its rhythm here. Carry it with you." Amelia nodded, feeling the weight of Colette's words settle into her. The evening air began to cool, and she stepped away from the crowd for a moment, seeking solace on a quiet bank of the Seine. Finding a bench, she pulled out her notebook, its pages filled with scrawled thoughts, sketches, and fragments of poetry born from the city's essence. The water glimmered beneath the starlit sky, and as she wrote, she reflected on her journey. She thought of the artists she had met, the cafes where she had found solace, and the laughter shared with strangers who had become friends. Each moment was a brushstroke on the canvas of her life, and Paris had given her the colors she never knew she needed. She wrote about the way the Eiffel Tower sparkled like a lighthouse in the distance, guiding her through the fog of uncertainty. Each word was a tribute, a way to capture the magic of this city that had become a part of her. The ink flowed from her pen as she poured her heart onto the pages, her thoughts weaving together the lessons learned. As she finished, Amelia looked up to see the Eiffel Tower shining brightly against the night sky, its lights twinkling like stars fallen to earth. A profound sense of peace washed over her, filling her heart with gratitude. She whispered a silent thank you to Paris, acknowledging the transformation she had undergone, the acceptance of her own self, the joy of simply being. With the notebook resting on her lap, she took a deep breath, inhaling the sweet scent of the Seine mixed with the faint aroma of bread lingering in the air. The city felt alive, pulsating with stories waiting to be told, and she was ready to embrace her future, armed with the wisdom and strength she had discovered within herself. As the moon cast its silvery glow over the water, Amelia stood, heart full. She took one last look at the shimmering lights of the Eiffel Tower, and with a renewed sense of purpose, she whispered to the night, "This is just the beginning." With her notebook tucked under her arm, she walked away from the river, ready to embrace the next chapter of her life, knowing that Paris would forever be a part of her story. Chapter 12. Beyond the Horizon. The golden hues of dusk painted the skyline as Amelia Harper stood on the Pont Alexandre III, her heart caught in the delicate balance between nostalgia and anticipation. The Eiffel Tower shimmered in the distance, its lights twinkling like stars unfurling against the deepening blue of the sky. Each flicker felt like a heartbeat, echoing the life that pulsed through the city she had grown to love. The cool evening air wrapped around her, scented with the subtle perfume of lavender from nearby gardens and the faint waft of freshly baked pastries from a patisserie tucked away on a side street. Amelia leaned over the railing, her notebook cradled in her hands. The Seine flowed beneath her, a liquid mirror reflecting not just the city's lights, but the myriad emotions swirling within her. She watched as the water danced, rippling with the whispers of the wind. The soft symphony of laughter and conversation from the nearby café mingled with the gentle lapping of the river against the stone banks, creating a melody that seemed to sing of farewell. "Meet me where the river bends," she murmured to herself, her voice barely rising above the sounds surrounding her. The phrase lingered in her mind, a note she had found tucked between the pages of a book in a quaint little shop on Rue Claire. It had seemed like a simple invitation then, but now it felt like a challenge to meet herself in the depths of her own heart. The bridge pulsed with life, the ornate lampposts casting a warm glow over the cobblestones. Amelia turned her gaze to the couples drifting past, their hands entwined, their laughter spilling into the air like bubbles of joy. A street musician had set up nearby, his guitar strumming a soft tune that wrapped around her like an embrace. Each note seemed to catch the breeze and weave it into the fabric of the evening. She jotted down her thoughts, the words flowing as easily as the water below. "Love is a series of fleeting moments," she wrote. "It's in the way two people share a glance, the way laughter dances between them, echoing in the spaces of silence." As she wrote, she felt a twinge of nostalgia, a bittersweet reminder of the connections she had made, and the ones that had slipped through her fingers like grains of sand. "C'est magnifique, n'est-ce pas?" a voice broke through her reverie. She looked up to find an older couple standing nearby, their faces alight with the glow of the city. The woman with silver hair cascading down her back smiled at Amelia. "Absolutely," Amelia replied, her French still clumsy but warming with the comfort of familiarity. "The city is enchanting." The man nodded, his eyes twinkling. "Ah, but it is the moments we share that truly make it magical. Look at them." He gestured toward a young couple on the other side of the bridge, their arms wrapped around each other, swaying gently to the musician's tune. Amelia watched them, feeling a pang of longing. "Do you think they know?" she asked, her voice softer now, steeped in contemplation. Do they realize how special this moment is? The woman chuckled lightly. In youth, we often overlook the beauty of the now, my dear. But that is why we must cherish it, even if only in memory. Amelia's heart swelled at the wisdom in her words. I'm learning that, she confessed, glancing down at her notebook. I've spent so much time searching for inspiration, for love. I think I've forgotten to just be. Ah, but you are here now, the man said, his voice a soothing balm. That is what matters. Embrace the present, and you will find your path. As they walked away, hand in hand, Amelia felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The city had a way of teaching lessons through the simplest of encounters, and tonight, under the soft glow of the streetlights, she felt a sense of clarity settling within her. The musician strummed a gentle melody, his fingers dancing over the strings with a grace that made her heart ache. The notes floated through the air, wrapping around her like a warm scarf on a chilly evening. She closed her eyes, letting the music wash over her, and inhaled deeply, savoring the blend of lavender, wine, and the lingering sweetness of pastries in the air. This is where I meet myself, she whispered to the night, a flood of peace washing over her. She could feel the city's pulse in her veins, a reminder that she was part of something greater. The sparkly Eiffel Tower stood tall as a beacon, urging her to embrace who she was and where she was going. As darkness wrapped the city in its velvet cloak, Amelia took a step back from the railing and settled onto the cool grass of the riverbank. The Seine flowed beside her, a gentle reminder of the passage of time and the beauty of the present moment. She opened her notebook again, her pen gliding over the pages with newfound urgency. Paris is not just a city, she wrote. It is a feeling, a collection of moments strung together like pearls on a necklace. Each moment is unique, yet they all come together to create something beautiful. I have discovered that the essence of life lies in these fleeting instances, in the laughter shared with strangers and the quiet solace found in a moment of reflection. As she wrote, she thought of Pierre, the artist with the gentle smile who had opened her eyes to the beauty of the mundane. She recalled their conversations, the way he had seen the world in colors and shapes, finding stories in the simplest of things. He taught me to look deeper, she wrote, to see beyond the surface and discover the magic that lies beneath. The Eiffel Tower glimmered brighter now, a constellation against the night sky. Amelia looked up, her heart swelling with gratitude. Merci, Paris, she whispered, feeling the pulse of the city in her core. Thank you for guiding me home to myself. The night deepened, the sounds of the city transforming into a soft lullaby. She watched as reflections of the city lights shimmered on the surface of the water, a dance of colors that mirrored the emotions swirling within her. In that moment, she was no longer a seeker. She was simply Amelia, present and whole. The musician finished his song, and the soft applause of a few scattered listeners filled the air. Amelia opened her eyes, feeling a warmth bloom in her chest. She reached into her pocket, retrieving a small coin and tossing it toward the musician. He caught her eye, a smile breaking across his face as he bowed his head in thanks. C'est magnifique, she called out, her voice echoing in the stillness. He grinned, launching into another tune, his fingers plucking the strings with renewed energy. Amelia leaned back against the grass, the world around her fading into the background as she surrendered to the rhythm of the music, the heartbeat of Paris intertwining with her own. As the notes danced around her, she felt a shift within. The longing, the searching. It all began to dissolve, replaced by an understanding that she had been seeking the wrong things. She didn't need to chase love or validation. She simply needed to embrace the beauty of being herself. The night wore on, and Amelia remained by the riverbank, the city's glow surrounding her like a warm hug. She took a deep breath, letting the scents of lavender and pastries fill her lungs, grounding her in the moment. In stillness, she found her love. The journey through Paris had been more than an adventure. It had been a revelation, a passage into her own heart. And as the stars twinkled overhead, she realized that she was ready for whatever came next. Merci, she whispered again, her heart full. In stillness, I have found my love. With a final glance at the shimmering reflections on the Seine, Amelia closed her notebook, the promise of new adventures stretching out before her like the horizon beyond the city. The past was no longer a weight to carry. It was a part of her story, and she was ready to embrace the next chapter of her life. Thank you for joining Amelia on her tranquil walk through Paris. As the last lights fade across the Seine, may you carry a sense of calm into your dreams tonight. The quiet of rain, the hum of distant laughter, the sparkle of the tower reflected on the water. Good night from Paris and from us. This was an original story by J. Wilkinson Productions.